stop for a second and touch your chin. It feels so ordinary that you've probably never questioned why it's there. But here's something that should make you uncomfortable. Out of millions of animal species that have lived on Earth, you are the only one with a true chin. Not lions, not wolves, not gorillas, not chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. Not even Neanderthals, the ancient humans who looked so much like us that they once walked beside our ancestors. Every one of them had powerful jaws. But none had the small piece of bone that's sitting beneath your mouth right now. Which raises a disturbing question. If evolution is so efficient, why would it create a feature that exists in only one species? Was it designed for speech? For strength? For attraction? Or is your chin nothing more than an accident that somehow survived hundreds of thousands of years? The strangest part is that after decades of research, scientists still don't fully agree on the answer. Think about that. We can send spacecraft billions of miles into space, edit genes, even replace failing organs. Yet we still can't say with complete certainty why every human carries this tiny piece of bone. And once you discover what researchers now believe, you may never look at your own face the same way again. Because the story of your chin isn't really about your face. It's about what makes us human. To understand your chin, we have to travel back nearly 2 million years, to a time when human faces looked nothing like they do today. Our ancestors lived in a brutal world where every meal had to be torn, crushed, or chewed raw. There were no kitchens, no cooking, no soft bread or cooked meat. Their jaws were enormous, their teeth were larger, and the muscles attached to their skulls were powerful enough to process food that would break a modern person's teeth. Then something extraordinary happened. Humans learned to control fire. At first, it simply provided warmth and protection. But eventually, it transformed something even more important. Our food. Cooking softened meat, roots, and plants, making them easier to chew and far easier to digest. Suddenly, evolution no longer needed massive jaws. Generation after generation, our faces began shrinking. Teeth became smaller. Jaw muscles weakened. The entire lower face started pulling backward. It was one of the biggest changes in human evolution. Yet it created a mystery nobody expected. As our faces became flatter, a small piece of bone beneath the mouth began to stick out instead of disappearing. That tiny projection would eventually become the modern human chin. But here's the part that doesn't make sense. If shrinking jaws created chins, why didn't the same thing happen to every other animal whose face evolved over time? That's where the mystery becomes far stranger than most people realize. For decades, scientists believed they already had the answer. The chin, they argued, must exist to make the jaw stronger. At first, that explanation sounds perfectly reasonable. After all, if evolution kept something for hundreds of thousands of years, surely it must serve an important purpose. But here's where everything begins to unravel. Think about a gorilla. It can generate a bite force several times stronger than yours. Wolves crush bone with their jaws. Hyenas can crack through thick skeletons. Yet none of these animals has anything resembling a human chin. If a chin truly made the jaw stronger, wouldn't the world's most powerful biters need one even more than we do? The theory simply doesn't hold up. Then another idea emerged. Perhaps the chin evolved because humans developed speech. A protruding chin might have helped stabilize the tongue or the muscles involved in talking. It's an intriguing possibility, until you realize that no one has ever found convincing evidence proving it. In fact, every major explanation, from chewing to speech to facial strength, solves part of the mystery while creating another. And that's what makes the human chin so unusual. Scientists aren't arguing over which answer is correct. They're still debating whether there was ever a single purpose at all. But what if we've been asking the wrong question from the beginning? What if your chin wasn't designed for anything, and instead became one of evolution's most fascinating accidents? Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Modern scientists are beginning to think that the human chin may not have evolved because it gave us an advantage. It may have appeared as a side effect of something else entirely. Evolution doesn't work like an engineer carefully designing every feature for a specific purpose. It works more like a sculptor, slowly removing and reshaping what already exists. As our faces became smaller over thousands of generations, different parts of the jaw shrank at different speeds. The upper jaw pulled back. The teeth became smaller. The lower face changed shape. And as everything around it shifted, one small section of bone remained slightly forward. The result wasn't a brand new invention. It was a byproduct of an entirely different transformation. In other words, your chin may exist simply because evolution had no reason to remove it. But here's the fascinating part. Once that chin appeared, it may have taken on new roles. Some researchers believe a more defined chin subtly influenced facial appearance, making individuals seem healthier, stronger, or more mature to potential mates. Others argue it helped distribute stress across the lower jaw, even if it wasn't the reason the chin appeared in the first place. And that's one of evolution's strangest habits. A feature can begin by accident, and only later become useful, which raises an even bigger question. If one of the most recognizable parts of the human face wasn't intentionally designed, how many other parts of your body are simply beautiful accidents of evolution? The next time you look in a mirror, your chin will probably seem different. Not because it changed, but because you now know it carries one of evolution's greatest unanswered questions. For centuries, we've imagined evolution as a master designer, carefully crafting every feature with a precise purpose. But the truth is far less comforting. Evolution doesn't plan. It doesn't think ahead. It doesn't create perfection. It simply keeps whatever helps a species survive, or at least doesn't prevent it from surviving. Your chin may never have been invented for speaking, chewing, or attracting a mate. It may simply be the unexpected result of millions of tiny changes happening elsewhere in the human face. And somehow, that tiny accident became one of the defining features of our species. The most human part of your face may not be proof of perfect design. It may be proof that nature often stumbles into remarkable outcomes. But perhaps the real mystery isn't your chin at all. It's the way humans search for meaning in everything around them. We assume every feature must have a purpose because our own minds are built to look for patterns, even where none exist. Sometimes there is a grand explanation. Sometimes there isn't. And that's what makes evolution so fascinating. It isn't following a blueprint. It's constantly improvising. Your chin is a quiet reminder that humanity wasn't created in a single perfect moment. We were shaped by countless small accidents, lucky changes, and unexpected turns that happened over millions of years. So maybe the hidden why isn't why humans have chins. It's why we believe everything about us must have been planned. And perhaps the greatest story evolution tells is that perfection was never the goal. Survival was.